So we saw two as in the number two, which was
Zwei.
zwei. Good. Z-W-E-I. And that Z gives us T-S. Zwei. And we saw two also in the sense of too warm, too loud, which was
Zu.
zu. Good. T-O-O becoming Z-U. Zu. This zu can also be used when we imply in order to in English. For example, to say I feel like it, in German, you will say I have Lust. Lust. I have Lust. And this means I feel like it. And Lust is the same word in English and German. Lust. So how would you say that? I have Lust.
Ich habe Lust.
Good. Ich habe Lust or ich hab Lust. So this means I feel like it. No? And generally you will use it as part of a bigger sentence where you will say something like I feel like going. Now, when you say I have lust to go, you are implying I have lust in order to go. When we're implying this feeling of in order to, the to go, gehen, is not enough. You must say, I have lust in order to go. There you will need to use zu in German. So how would you say that? I feel like going. I have lust to go in order to go.
Ich habe Lust zu gehen.
Ich habe Lust zu gehen. Good. How would you say you have, speaking informally? It was du.
Habst.
It would be habst, but what happened? There was a slight irregularity. Many years of habst.
Hast. Du hast.
Du hast. Do you feel like eating? Do you have lust in order to eat?
Hast du Lust zu essen?
Very good. Hast du Lust zu essen? How would you say we feel like seeing it? So you will say, we have lust, it to see.
Wir haben Lust, es zu sehen.
Very good. Wir haben Lust, es zu sehen. What was the word for what?
Was.
Was. Somewhat is etwas. E-T-W-A-S.
Etwas.
How would you say this is somewhat big? This is somewhat big.
Das ist etwas groß.
Very good. Das ist etwas groß. And somewhat sounds formal in German as it does in English. How would you say this is somewhat bigger?
Das ist etwas größer.
Good. And what happens to groß when you add the Something else happens.
It has 2 points. Größer.
So to find the pronunciation of that O with the 2 dots on it, the O with the umlaut, where do you look back to be sure?
Bird.
Bird. And there you're sure you have the right pronunciation there with bird. So we got to bird, we export that sound.
Größer.
Größer. Thinking about the O is going to produce something that feels closer for you to an O. But the sound in bird, has very little to do with O for us. No, so we really want to literally and slowly export that sound from bird and then use it to build
Größer.
bird, größer. Bravo. This is somewhat bigger.
Das ist etwas größer.
Das ist etwas größer. How would you say it is somewhat warm?
Es ist etwas warm.
It is somewhat warm. Es ist etwas warm. It is somewhat warmer.
Es ist etwas warmer.
And again, what happens here when you put the ER?
But it has 2 dots on the A.
Okay, so I don't want you to guess about how that should sound. I want you to look somewhere to find that sound and import it. And that might take some time, but that's okay. No, this is how you will install confidence with the different vowel sounds of German.
Spät.
Spät. So this word can act like a hook to look back to whenever you need reminding of how A with the umlaut should sound. And then import that sound over to give me it is somewhat warmer.
Es ist etwas wärmer.
Es ist etwas wärmer. Good. Etwas, other than somewhat, also means something. And of course, you will hear etwas much more as something than as somewhat. Especially as, like in English, somewhat is quite formal in German. So etwas we also have for something. How would you say, do you feel like eating something? Do you feel like eating something? Speaking informally.
Hast du Lust, etwas zu essen? Zu etwas essen.
Your first one was correct. Zu is going to stay next to the verb. No? Essen is to eat, and then zu gives us that feeling of in order to eat, and it's going to stay next to the verb zu essen. So, hast du Lust, etwas zu essen? Do you feel like cooking something?
Hast du Lust, etwas zu kochen?
How would you say, do you want to cook something? Again, informally, do you want to cook something?
Willst du etwas kochen?
Very good. Willst du etwas kochen? You might hear etwas contracted to was in spoken German. Don't let that confuse you. It's not what. You will know what the word is by the position of the word. So instead of etwas, you might hear was in spoken. So for example, if you say, do you want to cook something? Contracting this etwas to was, how is it going to sound?
Willst du was kochen?
Willst du was kochen? So here we know it's etwas by the position. If it was what, where would it be? What do you want to cook?
Was willst du kochen?
Good. Was willst du kochen? What do you want to cook? But then, do you want to cook something? Willst du was kochen? So that was there is just etwas.